Welcome to our English Flow podcast channel. Hello, listeners. Thank you for joining us today. I am Sarah.
And I am Mark. It is wonderful to have you with us for another episode of our English Learning Podcast. How are you today, Sarah?
I am doing very well. Thank you, Mark. I am excited because today we have a very interesting and modern topic. It is something that affects millions of people around the world.
That sounds important. What is the topic?
We are talking about the office debate. Specifically, we are comparing remote work versus in-person work. The way we work is changing, and everyone has an opinion about it.
Oh yes, this is a huge discussion right now. Some companies want people to stay home, and some want to come back to the building. It is a difficult choice.
Exactly. So, in this episode, we will look at the pros and cons of both styles. But first, to help our listeners understand, let's define some key vocabulary words.
Good idea. We have 3 important words for you today. The first word is remote. That is spelled R-E-M-O-T-E.
What does it mean to work remotely, Mark?
To work remotely means you do your job away from the company's main office. Usually this means working from your house, but it could also be from a library or a coffee shop. You use the internet and a computer to connect with your team.
Perfect. So, if you are sitting in your kitchen in your pajamas with your laptop, you are working remotely. Now, the opposite of remote is our second word, in person.
In person. This means being physically present. When you work in person, you travel to the company building. You sit at a desk, you have meetings in a conference room, and you see your coworkers face to face.
Yes, it is the traditional way of working. Now, our third and final word is commute. This is a verb. C-O-M-M-U-T-E. Mark, can you explain this one?
Sure. To commute means to travel from your home to your place of work. It is the journey you take in the morning and the evening.
For example, I drive my car to the studio. My commute is about 20 minutes. How do you commute, Mark?
I usually take the train. My commute is a bit longer, about 40 minutes each way. If you work remotely, your commute is 0 minutes.
That is a big advantage. Okay, listeners, keep these words in mind. Remote, in person, and commute. We will use them a lot in the next part of our show. Now that we know the vocabulary, let's start the debate. Mark, be honest with me. Do you prefer working remotely or in person?
That is a hard question, but I think I prefer working in person. I like going to the office.
Really? I am the opposite. I love working remotely. Why do you like the office so much?
For me, it is about the social connection. When I am at the office, I can talk to my team easily. If I have a problem, I just ask the person sitting next to me. It is very fast. Also, I like having coffee with my coworkers in the morning.
I understand that. It is nice to see people. But think about the commute. You said you travel 40 minutes every morning. That is 80 minutes every day. That is a lot of lost time.
You are right. The commute is tiring. I do not like standing on a crowded train. However, when I arrive at the office, I feel ready to work. My brain switches into work mode. When I'm at home, I feel lazy.
See, I am different. When I work remotely,
I am very comfortable. I can wear soft clothes, sit in my favorite chair, and I save a lot of money. I do not buy train tickets and I do not buy expensive lunches. I cook in my own kitchen.
Saving money is a very strong argument. But Sarah, don't you get distracted at home? When I try to work at home, I see the dirty dishes. I see the television. I want to play with my dog. It is hard to focus.
Sometimes it is hard, yes. You need self-discipline. But the office has distractions too. It can be very noisy. People talk loudly on the phone, or they interrupt you when you are busy. At home, it is quiet. I can focus on my tasks without interruptions.
That is true. The office can be loud. But there is one more thing I like about the office. It separates my life. When I leave the office building at 5 p.m., my work is finished. I go home and relax. When you work remotely, your office is your house. Do you feel like you're always at work?
That is a good point. Sometimes it is hard to stop working in the evening because my computer is right there on the table. It is important to turn off the computer and put it away.
Exactly. So, in person is good for social energy and routine, but remote is good for comfort, saving money, and focus.
Yes, both sides have positives and negatives. It depends on what kind of person you are.
You know, Sarah, because both sides have good points, many companies are trying something new. They are choosing a middle option.
I think I know what you're talking about. Are you referring to the hybrid model?
Yes, exactly. Hybrid means a mix of two different things. In this situation, it means you work some days at home and some days in the office.
This seems like the perfect solution for many people. For example, you go to the office on Monday and Tuesday, but you stay home on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
It lets you see your friends and have meetings, but also gives you time to do quiet work at home. It is the best of both worlds.
Let's talk about those specific tasks, Mark. I think some jobs are definitely better in the office. For example, brainstorming new ideas.
I completely agree. When we need to be creative, video calls are difficult. On a screen, it is hard to see body language. Sometimes the internet is slow, or two people talk at the same time. It feels awkward.
Yes, the dreaded lag. You say something, and then 5 seconds later, the other person hears it. It kills the creative energy. In a real room, you can stand up, write on a whiteboard, and shell out ideas quickly.
However, there is another situation: deep work. This is when you need to write a long report, do complex math, or code a computer program.
For deep work, the office is terrible. Imagine you are trying to concentrate and your desk neighbor is eating a loud apple. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Or the phone is ringing. You lose your focus immediately.
That is true. For deep work, silence is golden. At home, you can close the door and put on headphones. You can work for 3 hours without stopping.
Also, we have to talk about technical problems. When you work remotely, you have to be your own IT manager. If your Wi-Fi stops working, you cannot work.
Oh, that is the worst feeling. Or when you are in a video meeting and you are talking for 2 minutes, but nobody can hear you because you forgot to click the microphone button.
The famous phrase of the year, "You're on mute." Everyone has done that at least once.
But the office has problems too. The air conditioning is always too cold, or the coffee machine is broken.
So it really comes down to balance. The hybrid model tries to solve these problems by matching the place to the task. Do meetings in the office and do reports at home.
It sounds simple, but it requires a lot of organization. You need to know your schedule very well.
So, Mark, we have discussed a lot of different ideas today. It seems there is no perfect answer. Both remote work and in-person work have big advantages and big disadvantages.
That is the truth. It really depends on your job, your personality, and your company culture. Let's quickly summarize what we talked about for our listeners.
First, we talked about remote work. This is great because you have no commute. You save time and money, and you can be very comfortable at home. It is excellent for deep focus when you need quiet time.
However, it can be lonely. You might miss talking to people. Then, we talked about in-person work. This is great for social connection and teamwork. It is easier to solve problems quickly when you are face-to-face.
But the commute is tiring and expensive. Finally, we mentioned the hybrid model. This is the mix of both styles. It tries to give you the social benefits of the office and the flexibility of home.
I think we will see more and more companies using the hybrid model in the future. The world of work is definitely changing.
It is an exciting time. Now, before we finish the episode, we have a challenge for you.
Yes, we want you to practice your English writing or speaking. Here is your question for the week. If you could choose, would you work remotely, in person, or hybrid? Give 2 reasons why.
For example, you could say, I prefer remote work because I hate riding the bus, and I like cooking my own lunch.
Or, I prefer hybrid work because I want to see my friends, but I also like sleeping late sometimes.
Try to write your answer down or record yourself speaking on your phone. It is great practice.
Thank you so much for listening to our debate today. We hope you learned some useful vocabulary for your own office conversations.
Have a productive week, everyone. Whether you are at home or in the office, do your best.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.